I've been blogging a really long time. It's been 10 years since I wrote my first blog post and launched it. So October 6th, that's my 10th anniversary. I've gotten a lot out of blogging, but I am not here to evangelize it for you. I'm going to tell you about some of the benefits, I'm going to tell you about some of the pitfalls, but it may or may not be a good fit for you. Now, I've gotten a lot out of it. I mean, I've gotten some fame out of it, which I never looked for, but it came with the territory. I got money out of it, which is welcome, and I got clients out of it, which is great. And I got to meet a lot of interesting and nice people that I would not have gotten to meet otherwise. So it's really opened doors for me, but it's been a lot of hard work. I mean, I've been writing all my life, and adapting to blogging was an adjustment for me. But if you started a blog today, you don't have to repeat all of those mistakes. You don't have to do it the hard way. You can take some shortcuts, and I'll tell you about a few of those. But it may fit with what you're trying to do. Blogging is a tool. And so we'll talk about how that may fit into your toolbox as marketers, as professionals. We'll talk about storytelling and why it's trendy right now. And we'll talk about connecting with people, your highest goal in marketing, whether through social media or by other means. So as Rowena mentioned, my name is Kwon. I'm a consultant here in Birmingham. I work with companies on communication strategy and training. It's a pleasure to be back here at UAB and to talk to you about blogging. If you have questions, just raise your hand. I'll be happy to take questions throughout the presentation. We've got a fun game to play. I've got some prizes to give away. And I've got my contact information in the next slide. So if you think of a question later, if you don't think of it today, feel free to email me or reach me on Twitter. I'm happy to take questions about blogging or other social media because, as Rowena showed you, there are lots of channels out there. I don't know if your expectation is for them to master all of them by the end of the semester, but it's a tall order. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're all constantly learning about, we're all trying to get better at. So when I talk about blogging as a tool, it's nothing more, nothing less than a tool. You can use it, you can not use it. I think if you started using it today and you got better at it before you graduated, it would look pretty good on your resume. It might make you more attractive to potential employers and clients. On the other hand, I can't see into the future, and I wouldn't put all your bets solely on blogging. By the time you graduate, blogging might still be an active channel, and it may just fade away like MySpace and other social media channels and forms of communication. But the skills that you learn doing blogging can apply to other areas. So in taking on blogging, you're posting material to a website. It could be stories, it could be text, it could be quizzes, it could be videos, it could be pictures, slideshows, it could be live chats, whatever you can think of. And when you do it, you learn SEO, you learn search engine optimization, you learn how to build an audience, you learn how to promote content, you learn how to engage readers, you learn how to manage communities, you learn how to get people to take the next step, whether that's to go look at your catalog of merchandise or to go subscribe to your newsletter or your publications or whatever that desired next step is. Those are skills that you can apply to other channels that you may manage, whether it's media releases or campaigns or digital advertising or social media channels or so on. You only get good at it if you practice at it, if you try it. And college is a good time to do it because you're learning different skills, you're trying out different things, and the risk is low. If you screw up a blog post at a job and you screw it up really big, your job could be at risk. You could screw up the brand, you could screw up the company. But you do it here within UAB, chances are the consequences will be minimal. I think failure is a great teacher. I fail constantly, every day, and I try and learn from those mistakes. So fail and fail big. But when you do it in college, If you started blogging right now, you have an audience of 0, no one's paying attention, you can try different things, and if you hate it, you just stop. I mean, you don't have to keep doing it. But if you find that you like it, or you find some area you want to explore, you can keep going. So you can do it within a curriculum, you can do it on your own. There are different ways to approach it. But like I said, is it worth your time investing now, because you have limited time for so many classes, so many books to read, and so on, to keep doing it? Depends on where you're headed. Depends on if marketing is actually going to be your career or if you're looking at something else. It depends on whether there are other channels or skills that you want to explore in your limited time in school. And as I said before, it might go away. I mean, it'd be the same if I sat here and told you for 40 minutes, you should spend all your time learning to manage a Facebook page. I'm willing to bet that the majority of you spend less and less time on Facebook. So if Facebook starts to go away, if it has an expiration date, what's the point of spending more time on it now so that by the time you graduate, no one's using it? You probably spend more time on Snapchat or Instagram or WhatsApp or some channel or app I've never heard of and will probably never touch. But there are hundreds of social media channels out there. I don't know most of them, never used most of them. I can learn them if I need to. But it's not worth my time to sit there and try and place bets on every single channel. What serves me well is I don't mind learning something new. I don't mind exploring how different channels and media work. And it will serve you well if you have some curiosity and you're okay with learning over and over again, because the world of marketing is rapidly changing. Rowena and I have seen more changes in the last few years than probably in the majority of our careers. And it's going to continue to accelerate. So if you're going to keep up with people, your peers and customers and strangers, you're going to have to adapt anyway. As a corollary to blogging being a tool, I think writing is an important tool as well. It may even be more important than blogging. Now, keep in mind I'm biased, because I started out writing as a child, and I've kept up with it because I love to write. I write every day. But writing is a terrific skill to use, to practice on, to harness, and to get as good as you can at it. Because whether you choose to be a marketing professional, or a social media guru, or an attorney, or a doctor, or an artist, or a historian, writing is going to serve you in ways you can't imagine right now. But it's incredibly useful in the world of social media. It's incredibly useful in the world of blogging. Even if you're just creating campaigns, and if you're just writing copy for digital advertising, writing skills, I think, are very important. Again, I'm biased. I'm a lousy photographer. I'm not good with graphic design. I understand visual media, but can I create it? Not really. I'm a word guy. So I play to my strengths. But writing is a tool that you're going to use over and over again. So if there was something that I would spend the majority of my time in my college career besides developing critical thinking, it would be writing. But writing and blogging have gone hand in hand since the beginning. As I was preparing for today, I was trying to figure out, okay, so if you started a blog today on just one topic, what should it be about? What should college students blog about that would be the most exciting, the most successful for the least amount of work? I don't believe in putting out maximum output for little rewards. I believe in minimal output for maximum reward. So I came up with 10 topics. The 10th one I'll give you for free. The 10th one is apps. I think if you started blogging about apps today, your favorite apps, your least favorite apps, the ones that work well, the best games, best chat, best social media, best dating apps, I think people would love it, especially your fellow students and everyone your age. You could do reviews, you could do hands-on demonstrations, you could say like the 5 best solo player games under $1. You could talk specifically about iPhone or Android. But I think you can get pretty far with talking about apps on a regular blog post. But I have 9 others, and put them on screen. But I encourage you to take any of those topics and run with them, because it's an easy way to find out, A, if you enjoy talking about it on a regular basis, and B, if you actually can drive traffic and eyeballs and advertising or whatever else is important to you in pursuing it. Those are just guesses on my part as to what I think will work with the college audience, or what you might know the best personally, or what you would be interested in talking about over a longer period of time. How are the cookies, by the way? Good. So, but everyone's a winner because I'm going to keep talking. So.
None laughter. Share one cookie.
I'll give it to the instructor and let her make a solid decision as to. So, blogging is a potential tool in your toolkit, but above blogging, there's storytelling. Storytelling's trendy right now in marketing circles. I think we are seeing the peak, and I think it's starting to go down to whatever's going to take over storytelling next. But storytelling's a thing we talk about a lot. There's a conference that I run on marketing called Y'all Connect, and we talk about storytelling from the corporate point of view. As marketing professionals, you have the ability to use your storytelling skills to reach people quickly and effectively. But we tend to screw it up because we forget how naturally gifted we are as storytellers. It may be trendy right now, but we've been telling stories since the dawn of humanity. And we are all naturally gifted at it because we don't think about it. When you go home today and your mom or your dad or your roommate or your significant other asks, "How was your day?" you don't just rattle off chronologically what happened. I got up, I looked at my phone, took a shower, ate breakfast, and so on. I do that. Everyone but this guy
I'm a bad storyteller.
tells a story.
No wonder why.
Well, you think about what was the craziest thing that happened to you, and you say you never believe what happened in class. You never believe what happened in the dining hall, because you're trying to figure out a way to excite or share what happened to you and how you saw it and how it made you feel, and get this other person to feel it too. And we do that all the time without thinking. We tell stories, and we don't think about structure, we don't think about character development, we don't think about obstacles, we just tell the story. That's how easy it is. I've been speaking in front of groups and classrooms for a long time, so I've had a lot of practice rattling off bullet points and talking for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. But I wasn't feeling great about my storytelling skills. I wanted to get better at it. A couple of years ago, I found a group here in town. It's called ARC Stories, and what they do is they just put on storytelling events. Every month or every other month, they get a stage somewhere, and amateur storytellers go up on stage. They do some rehearsal ahead of time, and they tell stories about themselves that are personal and true. And so I've done this a few times. I've gone to their events to watch other storytellers, but more importantly, I've jumped in and tried to get better at it. So I'll write the story, I'll edit it, I'll practice it at home, I'll go to rehearsal and get notes from the story coaches, practice some more, edit some more, and then go on stage and tell it. In doing so, I'm able to develop an area that I don't feel I've been as strong in, and I'm able to incorporate it in just, regular presentations, but also when I write on my blog, or when I write a media release, or even when I try and write a series of tweets. I want there to be a story element in there. And I'm thinking consciously about characters. Who's in the story, and how do they relate to my audience? And if I was trying to make a larger point, I'd probably start off a story about being back in college. I think you'd relate better to me being confused and trying to figure out things on campus for the first time than me now talking to you about what it's like working, as a consultant. So there needs to be a relatable character in there so you can identify with him or her. And there needs to be some kind of obstacle or problem or dramatic conflict that they have to overcome. And then you got to show how they overcome it or don't overcome it, how they fail, how they are conquered by the problem or issue. And there's got to be some kind of emotional component to it. It's got to resonate with people. There have to be high enough stakes so that people care enough to follow along with the story. You think about the stories you hear on a regular basis from your peers, and in class, and in videos, and so on. Some of the best storytelling that will teach you about how to make it maximum impact in a minimal amount of time. You look at video commercials, whether they're 30-second spots on TV, or 15-second spots, or 10-second pre-rolls before videos you watch. It's master class in storytelling because they're trying to tell you a story in 10 or 15 seconds. You immediately identify who the person is on screen, what their role is, and what they're trying to solve or fix. And magically, in 15 seconds, they solve it with that company's product or service or brand. If you study them, you find all of these elements in the most compact form you will ever see. You can use that as a starting point for your own stories. It doesn't mean you have to be able to tell your stories in 140 characters in 10 seconds, but it's useful. It's helpful to understand compact storytelling and to take all those elements and make sure they're all in play. Blogging is one form of storytelling. You can tell long stories, you can tell short stories, you can tell them in video form, you can tell them in slideshow form, you can tell them with 10 words or 1,000 words. It's not the only form. But as long as there's been blogging, people have used it to tell their personal stories or things that they're passionate about, whether it's politics or sports or relationships or their community or their causes. There's all kinds of angles that they can take on their stories. If you wanted to learn better storytelling skills hands-on in the blog format, I think you could go out this afternoon and talk to the UAB Kaleidoscope, the student paper, and pick a beat and start writing for them. Because most of what you publish would probably be online. Some of it would be in print, but I think most of it would be on their website. An alternative to that would be to find out if there are any jobs or internships in the campus PR office. But learning to tell stories in a professional way on deadline is an excellent teacher. And again, that PR office, they're publishing all of their releases and stories on the web, as well as in UAB Magazine or in email releases or in other formats. But if you want to learn how to publish online in digital format, and you need some structure, and the whole reason I started my blog is I wanted to keep writing, but I needed a deadline. I needed something to keep pushing me forward. Then joining the Kaleidoscope or working for the PR office would be a great opportunity to learn storytelling skills, learn blogging skills, all at the same time. So you've got blogging as a potential tool in your toolkit. You've got storytelling, which we do naturally, but we have to adapt when we do it for marketing on behalf of a brand, on behalf of a company or a campaign. But the ultimate reason in marketing is trying to connect with people. When you joined Facebook or Snapchat or whatever your favorite social media channel is, you didn't join with the hope that big companies would fill your timeline with ads and commercials and spam. That's what we get because we don't pay for these apps. But that's not what we wanted. I'd bet the farm that the reason you signed up is because you wanted to keep up with your friends, and your high school classmates, and your fraternity brothers and sorority sisters, and maybe your crazy family, and people in your dorm, and this was the easiest way to do it, because everyone else is doing it. So there's peer pressure involved too. Social media, it's the first word, it's social. It's not spam media, it's not advertising media, it's social media. You are trying to connect with people. You are trying to see what they're up to, and sometimes you may want to share what you're up to and have them see it. It's the reason why everyone's on it. They're not on it to connect with Walmart or McDonald's or Domino's or what have you. But we do have relationships with companies and brands and products and services. I have used Apple products for a long time, longer than most of you have been alive. Right now I use an iPhone and a MacBook. And I've used them for a long time because when I first started using Apple computers, I found them to be helpful for me in terms of producing stuff, fun to use, durable, reliable, and so I always found them to be the thing that I turned to. It didn't start on social media, I'll tell you that much. It started probably because I saw some commercials. I may have gotten to play with a Mac at a friend's house, so I got to see it, work with it hands-on, and realized this is a better fit than the PC that we had at home. So I've been a loyal customer ever since. And I'll probably continue to buy and use Apple products for the future. Even if they screw up every now and then, I've got that brand loyalty. So you may have brand loyalty and a relationship with specific brands and products and services. How it started, you may or may not remember. You may have reached out to them, they may have reached out to you, you may have just been shopping, you may have just accidentally stumbled upon it and you liked it enough that you kept going with it. And that's the challenge with using blogging or any of these tools to reach strangers. Great marketing is about connecting with people as quickly and efficiently and authentically as possible. But you're not going to connect with a brand just because they stuck an ad up on Facebook or tweeted at you or have, what they think is a cool Snapchat account. It's going to take more than that. If you are going into marketing, and there is, by the way, an argument that no matter what you choose to do, we are all salespeople and marketers from this point forward. We are all representative of ourselves, our personal brands, and our companies at all time, even if you are not in the marketing department. But the problem that never gets solved is how do we reach people? How do we connect with them? Because you may come up with a brilliant campaign and it nets a lot of customers or likes or followers, and it'll work for a little while, but then what? Because the channels evolve, people evolve. What they were using today, they're not going to be using in 3 months. So you got to solve the problem again. This is where it helps to be creative. This is where it helps to be persistent. This is where it helps to be experimental and to test ideas and to be willing to fail if those ideas don't pan out the way you hope. If you can tell stories, then you've got a better than average chance of capturing people's imaginations. If you can use tools like blogging or social media or email marketing or texting or whatever else comes around the bend, you've got a better than average chance. Video is an excellent way to reach people and to tell stories and to engage them as quickly as possible, because you get that visual component and it's not static. You immediately see what's going on. You're immediately able to process this story. And we see video information now all the time. If you've stopped watching TV, you may still be watching Netflix streaming on your laptop or your phone or your tablet. You may be noticing autoplay videos in any number of social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. You may be sharing and watching videos in YouTube on a regular basis. Video is extremely important right now, and if you spent the rest of your college career learning how to produce and create and share great videos, you'd be in good shape, because that's where all the advertising dollars are going right now. The challenge of video is production. It's resource intensive. You gotta spend a lot of time, you gotta spend a lot of money, you gotta have the right equipment, you gotta have a specific skill set to edit and produce and light and mic videos and to get them out there. So even though it's a hot area for advertising and we need more video content, it's just difficult to produce good videos. Think of it this way. On any given day, you start 30 videos, 100 videos, I don't know how many. You don't finish all the videos, you make snap judgments. I'm gonna bet maybe 2 to 3 seconds, though I'm sure I'm erring on the side of too long. Within 2 to 3 seconds, you look at the video, not for me, keep scrolling. You look at another video, keep scrolling. Because who has time to watch every video to completion? Most of them are terrible, they don't apply to you, they're not aimed at you, they make no sense, they're poorly produced, you can't hear the audio, the music's terrible, the message is something you don't agree with. Whatever the reason, you gotta keep scrolling. And that makes perfect sense. We can't sit here and watch every video that's thrown at us in 30 different directions. So we're already choosy about the video content we watched. And we're getting more of it thrown at us. And of course, if all of you become brilliant videographers and video producers, by the time you graduate, we'll have even more video to sift through. But at least I know it'll be something more interesting. It'll be better. It'll tell a story, or it'll engage me, or it'll try and connect with me emotionally. So video is a potentially great direction for you to go in. Just understand that you've got to really develop a certain set of skills, and beyond just the technical skills, how to tell a story in the video format. I can tell stories all day in text because I've been practicing at it a long time, and I can help you get better at that. Video, on the other hand, I'm probably, at the same point you are. I kind of understand how stories work in video, but there's so many different ways to do it, I just can't necessarily wrap my head around it. I'd have to start where you are and just learn it from scratch. But video is just one way to connect with people.
There's a really good video person in town that could maybe come and be one of our guest speakers.
I'll have to think on that.
Okay.
I bet I can come up with someone.
Okay.
I'll let you know a secret. So we do video at our conference, and so we have speakers come up and they talk, they do their session, and then we record all of them. And because I don't know video, I hire someone to do it,
Yep.
and they do an excellent job. And so that's one of those options where if you don't know how to do something and you don't have personal interest in it, you can farm it out. But we use an out-of-town firm
Okay.
because in the shopping for the specific video needs we had, we found one, but they just happened to not be in town. But they use local talent. That's the odd thing is they fly in their producer
Okay.
and they handle it all from their office. But wherever they go, I think they hire local talent when they can. And of course, it's cheaper because they don't have to fly in,
Everybody.
4 extra people on crew. But I will brainstorm because I think there are probably a couple of people here in town who could do a great job of talking about video and answering your questions about where would you get started, how would you use it, where do you see video going, and so on. Because I think those are all questions you need to ask. So you've got blogging as a tool, you've got storytelling as a trend that's never going to go away and is a skill that you can develop, and you've got your ultimate goal of connecting with people through great marketing. If you have questions and you don't think of them today, just email me at wade@wadekwon.com, wade@wadekwon.com. That's my website, birminghamvlogging.com, where I blog about communication issues on a weekly basis, and then I'm on Twitter at WadeOnTweet. So feel free to copy that down. You may never use it, but if you do, please feel free to ask me questions or pitch ideas or show off your new blog to me if you develop one. In the 10 years that I've been blogging, I haven't forgotten where I started. And where I started was, I've been writing my entire life, and I've been in journalism for a majority of my career. But on October 6th, 2005, I was a new blogger. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know where I was headed, didn't have any grand purpose other than to just keep writing, to just practice my craft of writing over and over again in a public fashion. But it's been a fun journey because I've learned a lot along the way, and as many failures as there have there have also been a lot of rewards. Beyond blogging, beyond storytelling, that healthy sense of curiosity, that willingness to practice and develop skills and take risks, those are going to serve you well both in blogging and also in marketing and also in life. Thank you.